Hey, I'm Siobhan, and I love talking about all the things related to freedom and personal growth. And I'm on a journey to redefine freedom on my own terms as I become the woman I desire to be. Each week, I'll share in real time what I'm learning as I do my inner work while creating a safe space for my listeners to feel seen. If you desire to be free and live a life that feels good to you, then you're in the right place for beautiful conversations that's going to support you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to the Siobhan J. Middleton podcast. Now let's start the show. Hey, welcome back to another week of the podcast. You know, I'm so happy that you are here again for another week, taking in all the beautiful things I'm about to share with you. Before we get into today's episode, again, I want to continue to mention if you can do me a huge favor and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts with a sentence or two or a paragraph, just expressing your love for the podcast. I mean, you can ask questions, you can suggest topics to me. If there's a topic that or an episode that you want me to elaborate on, I would love to know that, or just let me know your thoughts about the podcast. And I'm requesting this, and it's going to actually tie into today's episode, because I do want my podcast to begin to get more visibility. So not only leaving a 5-star review, but I would also love if you can begin to share the podcast in your IG stories or wherever you spend time on social media. Tag me so that I can see it and also be able to share it again on my page, and then also send it to a friend or two, especially if you're really enjoying it. Okay, so today I want to kind of talk about my new dream. And it was back in June of last year, maybe July, Spirit said to me, it is time to dream a new dream. And I want to give you just a little bit of background about my work in case you're new here and you're like, what are you talking about? I started Be Free Project, my company, back in 2014. And it was designed to help women get unstuck and be free to live the life that they wanted. And at the same time, not realizing how stuck I was in my own life. So my company was actually helping me as I was helping other women in their life as it related to pursuing the things that they really desired. And so Be Free Project started out as one-to-one coaching. And then a few months in, I realized that I wanted to be surrounded by women who were also doing the work around personal growth. And so I started hosting in-person events, and then that led me to group coaching, which led to me starting a podcast. I created products like the Free Your Mind Journal, the Girl Be Free Affirmation cards, and so many digital resources and everything I could to really help women do their inner work. And the last thing that I created that I spent a lot of time and energy was the Be Free Inner Circle, which was a virtual space that I managed online and built a community for women to have a space to build new friendships and also do their inner work while I coached them through that. And when I tell you I loved my work, every part of it, I will say that there was a lot because I was doing 99% of it myself. There will be sometimes that I would outsource like support with my podcast and things like that. But for the most part, I did everything myself, and it was a lot of work. In addition to, for a big portion of my company in the beginning years, I was a homeschool mom, and then a wife, and just all these other roles, and it was a lot. And I worked my butt off from the bottom up, trying to get my company into a space where it would be profitable and that it would take care of me and all the things. Oh, and also a speaker. I forgot to add that part as well. And so I worked a lot, and I believed deeply in the work that I was doing, so much so that I became a workaholic. And it was obvious, and I don't like this, but I can see how my daughter has picked up some of the tendencies of now with her artwork, like that mindset of always having to work, always having to do something. And I'm trying to reverse that right now and show her a different way. But, it takes time to do that. I ate, slept, breathed my work, and I was also defined by my work, where Siobhan was Be Free Project. Be Free Project was Siobhan. And so when something didn't go right in my company, I took it very personally. Like when people would cancel their memberships in the Be Free Inner Circle, or someone would buy a ticket to one of my meetups and then not attend, like anything that happened within Be Free Project, I took it personally. And also, it was not easy for me to receive all the praise for the company as well. I mean, I did amazingly well. And sometimes, it was difficult for me to take in how women from all over the world would tell me how I changed their life. And it's making me emotional as I'm saying this, because I was just showing up doing the work that I believed in. And to know that me, literal me, was literally changing lives all over the world through my in-person events, through my coaching, through my Free Your Mind journal, the Motherless Child Guidebook, like all of the things. I'm like, wow. And it also was hard to receive it based on where I was in my own life. But it was the one thing that I created outside of my children that I was so freaking proud of, right? And in 9 years, I'm so proud of every single thing that I've done. I mean, I've held over 70 events, whether in person, virtually, even with the in-person events, like many of them being sold out within a short time frame, and traveling to do events in other cities. And even I would come across people when I'm out and about, and they'll say, when are you having another event? When are you having another event? Because they were so impactful. And lives were changed and relationships were built. And it was just such a beautiful experience to be able to do the work that I was doing within my company. But going back to June or July of last year, when Spirit said to me, it's time to dream a new dream, it was very similar to what I heard when I got laid off from my job. And when I was sitting in my car after registering my son for kindergarten, and I get the call from the director saying, this site is closing. I remember hearing in my right ear, God saying, this is your opportunity to take a chance on yourself. And I didn't know what that meant, what I would create, how my work or whatever I created would change the world. I had no idea. But it's the same thing with it's time to dream a new dream. And I knew within my home that I had built Be Free Project as far as I could get it. And when I decided to leave my marriage, it also came to me that Be Free Project is now complete, because the very thing that you were doing to be free and how you were supporting other people, you were also helping yourself. And now that season, that chapter is closed. That chapter is complete. And it's time to dream a new dream, because the person that you were when you built this company, you're not that version of yourself anymore. So let's explore and think about what is the next thing that you want to dream. And I'll be honest, that was not easy to hear, because as I mentioned, I loved my work. I did so much within Be Free Project that I wasn't ready. I didn't think that I was ready to start over. And I'm like, and what would I do? Like, what would I do, But I did know in my heart of hearts, based on where I was, that Be Free Project was complete. And just like when I got laid off from my job and I trusted what I heard, I had to trust again. And so that is what I'm doing. I am trusting that it is time to dream a new dream and allowing myself to lean into that, because I've seen the benefits of me trusting God based on what I hear and based on what I feel. Once I settled into Be Free Project being complete, I knew that I was becoming a new person, and I wanted my work to be easeful. I didn't want to feel like someone who was chasing or trying to be free. Like, it was now about redefining freedom and what that looked like for me in this season of my life. I also knew I didn't want to be so busy doing a million different things in my company and being a workaholic, stressing myself out. Like, I didn't want that. I wanted this season of my life, I want to do what I love doing. I want to do what fills my cup, and I want it to be easy, and I want it to be light, and I want it to energize and illuminate me. And so when I asked Spirit one day, several months ago, I said, hey, I'm ready for the next thing. I'm ready now that I am transitioning out of my marriage. I'm ready to know, what is this new dream? Because yes, I've reached the ceiling. I'm ready to now know, because I have worked through so much. I'm ready to know, because at that point I had only knew that it's time to dream a new dream, but I didn't know what that meant. And so now I'm here asking Spirit, what is the meaning of that? And so I kid you not, the day that I said, Spirit, I'm ready for the next thing. So one day I'm in the car with my daughter. And after I had that conversation with God, I was telling her about, I'm now back to podcasting and it feels good to be putting my work back out in the world. And out of nowhere, she said, do you think podcasting is your thing? Like, that's the thing, that's the one thing. And I was like, nah. No, it's not that. It's that, but it can also be some other things, but I just don't have the answer yet, right? So then I share this conversation with my friend, and I'm like, I asked Spirit this question, that I had this conversation with my daughter. What if, do you think podcasting could just be my one thing? And so we talked about it. And then she did a reading with human design, and then I did a reading with my oracle cards. And when I tell you, it was like clear as day that yes, podcasting is the one thing that you're going to put all your focus and all your energy in. Now, that is scary because I've never done this before. Of course, I've been podcasting, I believe, since 2017, but I've never just focused on one thing. So that part was scary. And I'm like, can I do that? Why would I do that? Is that okay? But when I tell you, there's this feeling of peace that I feel the same way when I decided to start Be Free Project, that yes, this is the thing that you're going to put all your effort and all your energy into. And not only the podcast, but also my writing. So that's why I've been very intentional with writing my newsletters now. And so I switched over to a different platform, so then that way I can begin to build community. So as you listen to the podcast each week, you can also be subscribed to my newsletter, and we can start to have conversations about what you heard. And so this platform that I'm using makes it easier to do so. So if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, I highly recommend doing so. That link is in the show notes for you. But as I lean into this, I'm like, okay, this is what you're going to do. So the podcast will be the main thing, and then I'll allow other things to unfold from there. But I'm only focusing on one thing, which is my podcast and my writing. And they work hand in hand, right? I am so used to having everything laid out. Like I know, okay, this is the thing that I'm working on, and bam, bam, bam. With this particular space that I'm in, I'm uncertain of the future. But all I'm doing is trusting and allowing things to flow. And as I've been sharing on the podcast, you guys are reaching out to me via email. You're seeing me in person. You're sending me DMs about how much my work is impacting your life and how much you appreciate my vulnerability. And so that is confirmation for me that, yes, this is the thing that you're going to work on. And so another thing that I was sharing with my friend when we were having a conversation, I said, I had journaled about this, and I said, I just want to get paid for doing what I love. And then I'm like, well, what is it that I love doing? I love talking and I love sharing, hence the podcast and the newsletter. And I'm like, if I can just focus on talking, and I already have some other ideas that's going to stem from this, that is it. And so I do want to get brand partnerships that are in alignment with my values. I do want to get ad sponsors, and I really want to put myself out there where the podcast will be my profitable business. I want to get back to hosting in-person events. And again, everything will be built around the podcast. But I'm so excited that everything is shifting. So even if you've been following my company for several years, the podcast started out the name of Girl Be Free. And then I switched it over to Be Free Project. And now it's just my maiden name, Siobhan J. Middleton. And this is just such a beautiful space to be in, to receive all the feedback that I'm getting from both men and women, and just to focus on one thing, which is the podcast, and build from there with my writing, events, products, resources, things of that nature. So when it comes to dreaming a new dream, Spirit also said to me most recently that it's not just about dreaming a new dream for your company, but also dreaming a new dream for your personal life. And when that hit me, I'm like, that makes sense. Because for so long, the dream was, my marriage, my children, all of that jazz, but I'm not in that space anymore. So my life looks completely different, that I'm officially now divorced, mothering 2 amazing teenagers, living on my own for the first time, rebranding my company, focusing on my podcast. What does this mean for my personal life? Like, what is that dream? And what I mean by that, like, as it relates to friendships, romantic relationships, like, what do I want my personal life to look like? And so one dream that I have that I'm going to share with you is that what I deeply desire to do is to live in, let's just say, one city for like a short period of time, and then move to another city for a short period of time to experience the culture and everything that happens, like whether I go from New Orleans to Savannah, Georgia, to the DMV, and then to Bali, to Spain, Toronto, wherever. Like, I want to live in many different places for a period of time, and this is how I want to live my life. And I remember years ago, I had shared that dream with my ex, and he was like, how are you going to do that? Like, you got kids. That's not possible. And I remember saying, like, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. Fast forward to now, and now that dream that I've always had, I'm going back to that. And so now I was sharing it with a friend the other day, and I'm like, this is my dream. And she's like, oh, you can do it this way, this way, this way. And I'm like, all right, bet. So once my youngest graduates high school, I'm on the first ticket out of here. And I don't know where I'm going quite yet. I have an idea, but I'm going to start to plan for that. But that's one of my dreams. And so allowing myself to live in that and like imagine what that's going to look like and feel all the feelings around it, like that excites me. Another thing that I want to mention about dreams is how in one season of your life, you were dreaming, let's just say you want to make 6 figures and you wanted a family and you want to buy that brand new car, or whatever the dream was for you. And let's just say you checked all those boxes and now you're looking up like, now what? I want you to give yourself space to dream a new dream for yourself, right? And maybe some dreams that you had maybe 5 years ago, 2 years ago, those dreams are no longer yours or you don't want them anymore. But I want you to give yourself space to dream something new. Like, check in with your heart. What is it that you deeply want? Like, what would fill your cup that when you achieve this dream, like, yes, this is freedom for me. And so that's the space that I'm in, exploring what is it that I desire. So even when I think about my personal life, like, how do I want my dating life to be? How do I want to move throughout the world? Like, what is it that I'm dreaming, and allowing myself space to do that? I also want to say, don't be hard on yourself if there's dreams that you had that you didn't fulfill and now you're feeling frustrated, like that you didn't meet it for whatever reason. Don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. You get to start over every single day. And I wanted to share this with you because my dream, let's just say 7 years ago, looks very different from the life that I'm living, because I am listening to my soul now. And it's like, what does my soul want? And so even when it came to my marriage, when I had to have this conversation several years ago, I knew in my heart of hearts, I no longer wanted to be married. Now, that wasn't an easy decision, but that wasn't my dream. My dream was to live the way that I'm living now. And even that is still unfolding. So I want you to just take time to figure out, what is it that I deeply desire? What is freedom to you? What is your biggest, wildest dream? And again, let that come from your heart space. So maybe take some time to meditate, sit in silence, do some journaling, and just check in with your heart. What dream do you have for yourself? And allow whatever comes up to come up, and then try your best to begin to work towards that. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for allowing me to share my dream with you. I love, 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 love this community and what we're building. And I would love for you to subscribe to my newsletter so we can continue to connect that way. Again, that link is in the show notes. Please share this episode with a friend. Share it on your social media. Tag me so that I can see it. All my links to my social medias that I use are in the show notes. If this episode was inspiring to you in any way, shape, or form, I would love for you to support by treating me to a cup of coffee. Thank you every week to everybody who is contributing. I appreciate you so much. And don't forget, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, whether you're listening on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you're at. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss out on an episode. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review and let me know your thoughts. Sending you so much love and light, and I hope you have an amazing day.